Our next speaker is Marguerite Pilon, and she is going to talk to us about the eco-literacy app. So we've got your slides here.
Hi everyone, thank you for being here. I'm going to be presenting on an app I designed as a part of my senior design classes called Engage, and it's focused on eco-literacy and increasing access to environmental resources. Next slide. So I want to talk a little bit about my motivations behind this app. I remember sophomore year, I was reading Naomi Klein's Capitalism versus the Climate, and it was the first time I was really engaging with these issues on a critical level, and I was so overwhelmed, and I had this really awful sense of environmental fatigue and climate anxiety and guilt. And then subsequently, I had conversations with professors both studying abroad in Costa Rica and here at Seattle University, talking about the disconnect between their research they were doing and the way this was communicated with the public. And this spurred this idea to create this database resource app to help people stay up to date and educated on environmental issues. So this is my user needs statement, is that people need an easily accessible way to educate, stay up to date, and engage with environmental issues when these issues are often convoluted, information is endless, and news cycles so quickly in order to feel empowered to create meaningful and transformative change. Next slide, please. And a really powerful quote I remember from one of these professors was that, how are we supposed to know how to care for the land and the earth if we don't first come to know and understand the land and earth? So that's how I got here. So this was my preliminary user survey. There was a lot of data here, but some of the biggest takeaways is that 37% of people felt like they had a hard time getting access to environmental resources. An additional 33% of people saw other people struggling with this. 71% of respondents thought that increased education would help them become more engaged in environmental issues. And 80% of respondents thought that there was a disconnect between public knowledge and emerging research, and then their ability to engage. Next slide. This is some more data from that. The biggest reason that people weren't engaging with environmental issues was because of the stress and anxiety they experienced from hearing about these issues all the time. Additionally, feeling really overwhelmed by the amount of information that is out there, and then being too focused on other issues. And then the categories of resources that I was going to focus on the app are here on the right side. And the most 83% of respondents thought that a breakdown of these issues would help them begin their journey on learning about environmental issues, as well as organizations, recent news, personal engagement, and then scientific studies were big categories there. So this is my app logo for Engage. You can go to the next slide. And here are the app goals that I came to. And this is obviously a huge scope to try and take on. But I really want to try and help mitigate that feeling of environmental fatigue in a way that allows people to continue engaging really thoughtfully in these issues instead of stepping back and being unable to move forward. I want to bridge gaps between emerging research and public knowledge. I want to provide accessible educational resources to everybody, especially people that are outside of academic spheres, and then people that are most affected by these issues so that they're empowered to make change and transformation within their own communities. I want to help people slow down to thoughtfully interact with climate change and other environmental issues in a way that isn't the constant news cycles that get thrown at us every day. I want to find a way to visually explore environmental issues and other social issues, and then provide ways to thoughtfully engage and take action in support of Indigenous groups, grassroots, and community-led organizations. And I have this prototype link. I'm going to send it in the chat. So you would have your main screen, and you could start where you left off. This would take you back to where you last started your research. You could explore topics, look at your saved resources, go to recent updates of, this would be like the most fresh news stories. You could create action plans and then take notes. And if you're on that link, you should be able to click on explore topics, and that'll take you to the next page. And feel free to mess around with this later after this presentation. And then you have your environmental categories here. This is obviously not extensive, but you'd be able to click on one of these and that would take you to related issues. And from here, you could go and this would take you to the resource app link page. And I don't have the screens of that up on here, but again, if you have that link, you can click through those. And another main aspect of this is I want to have a community forum where leading experts in these fields would be able to communicate and answer questions and give direct action items to people that were looking for those. So there'd be these community forums, as well as hopefully ways that this would help inform policy and make actual transformation within communities. So yeah, thank you so much. If you have any questions, you can direct them to this email. Thank you.